There we have it. Okay, so I got into a conversation this weekend about evolution. And one of the things that I learned was that Darwin, I don't know much about evolution, but we all know the quote that the survival of the fittest, right? That's kind of how we evolved. And my friend was telling me that that's not really the truth of what Darwin said, but rather it's the survival of the most adaptable that really helps us evolve and has over the millennia helped us evolve. And that rings so true to me, right? That the more adaptable we are, the more likely we are to be able to navigate through all the challenges of life. And of course, that led me to the Yoga Sutra. And if you really dive into the sutra, I think one of the main premises that's in there is learning how to be adaptable. It's not said that so directly, and it's certainly the purpose of the yogic path is really toward liberation. But along the way toward that, I think adaptability is one of the main skills that we cultivate. And I don't know about you, but with the constant ping pong of our world, where every day you wake up and there's something else that there's needing to be contended with. Um, Adaptability is so very important. And I think this is one of the things that gets challenging when we get older, is that children are so adaptable. Everything is new. They're constantly evolving and changing and adapting, and they don't have the expectation that every day is going to be the exact same. Um, and so, managing as we get older that balance between structure and habit, routine that is also very good for us to have routines in our life, but also novelty and adaptability and to kind of find both of those things is, I think, very, very important. And as we get older, we become less adaptable. I mean, if you spend any time with elderly people, often there's just a lot of emphasis on this is what I do and this is how I do it, and no deviation from the path. And then something happens, and of course, because life happens, and it gets harder to adapt to change. So remember that in our practice, that learning how to be adaptable is such a huge gift for our well-being. And we've experienced this all the time on our mat. So when you are in your practice, your mental practice and your physical practice, try to recognize opportunities for adaptability. When you see or feel something in your body or in your mind that you are kind of pushing up against a rigidity, see if you can bring your breath into that space and allow yourself to dissolve a little bit of your boundary and say, what's possible here? What might be different that I could access right here, right now? And challenge yourself, that yogic homework that we're constantly doing of challenging yourself to adapt to change. Okay, so as you sit up straight and tall, take a moment and think about that for yourself. Do you kind of agree or not that it's not survival of the fittest, but it's the survival of those who are most adaptive that could be helpful to us? When is the last time you had a day that went exactly how you thought it was going to go? All right, so change is inevitable. It's constant. It's every day. So as you contemplate your relationship with change, can you allow your body to soften and your breath to soften, your mind to soften, so that you can be free to experience shifting within you with a little bit more comfort than if you're holding things rigidly. So as you close your eyes and kind of come into your body, maybe you can think about a way that you can work with this in your life today. Is there something that you're resisting? Is there something that you can maybe shift your perspective on in your mind, or shift how you're going about doing something physically. Can you offer an intention for adapting to change? And when we have that never give up and always let go mentality, then we can more easily surrender into what's changing around us and within us. So now feel your way into this present moment body experience. What's here right now for you? Is your breath full and deep? Do you have the capacity to breathe well, or are you a little held, a little choppy? Kind of just notice yourself. What do you need in your mind and in your body to be more adaptable? What could shift in you? How can you support yourself, and how can your practice support this within you? Sometimes it's as simple as just remembering to breathe. And notice how just the simplicity of moving into stillness, into presence, into your breath, kind of taking yourself away from the external stimuli for just a moment. What has shifted in you in just these first couple of minutes of breathing? And bring your hands together at your heart, and let's offer an intention for ourselves. Maybe it has to do with becoming more adaptable. Maybe something entirely different is happening in your mind, body. And release your hands. Let's find our way onto our back. All right, so as you stretch out and lengthen, see what it feels like to just allow yourself to open up. Okay. See if you can feel your whole back body rest on the ground. There's a sense of ease as you melt your limbs toward the ground. Let the back of your head rest. And just kind of take stock. How's your breath moving in your body here in this position? And then stretch your arms overhead and feel some reaching in your body. Searching the right side, stretching the left side, and just enjoying some opening up. So we find some length, find some space, find some breath. Enjoy the simple feeling of moving your body little bits like this. And then draw your knees into your chest and rock a little bit, opening up the lumbar spine. All right, hang on to the knees and let's circle, kind of rolling your knees one direction a few times, letting your back ease up and going the other direction. And then let's open up the knees away from the midline and bring them back in towards finding that sense of movement in your hip joints. Relax your head. Never underestimate the power of keeping your body agile and mobile as part of your adaptability. The more free we feel in our body, the more possibility we have for choice. Right knee into our chest. Let's roll around in our ankles. Feel the freedom in your feet. Wiggle your toes. And then go ahead and switch sides. Left knee and right leg long. Then move around. Keep moving around through your ankles. Feel your feet open up a little bit. All right, and then stretch your limbs wide on the ground. Open up your body. Let's roll our wrists and roll our ankles and wiggle our fingers and wiggle our toes. And as we exhale, draw our knees into our chest. Give a hug. Let's do that one more time. Stretching open, big and wide. Exhale. Drawing your knees into your chest. And put your head on the ground, arms straight out to the side, and let's windshield wiper our knees left and right. And just nice, gentle, easy movement through a little twisting here. And we're going to get a little bit bigger in the twist. So shift your hips over to the right, pick up your knees, drop them left, and twist open in your spine. Turn your head and find a full breath here. Relax through your skull, melting and breathing. And then come back up. And we'll twist the other way, taking your hips over to the left, drop your knees right, and roll open to this twist. Enjoy your spine. Melt your head. Find your breath. And then coming back to center. Let's take a moment to just do a couple of moving bridge poses. So ground the four corners of your feet. We'll inhale and lift the pelvis up. Arms come up overhead. And then slowly lower your arms and your pelvis back down. Breathing as you do this, lifting the hips up, engaging your glutes. And then exhale and releasing back down. One more time. Lifting on up, keeping the hips high. And then exhale and lowering the pelvis back down. We're going to do a little asymmetry in our practice today and then come back towards symmetry. So let's just feel the symmetry briefly for a moment to just kind of stabilize our pelvis. So take a block between your thighs. It can be at middle or narrow width of the block, anywhere you want between your knees all the way down to your pelvis. Some place that feels stable with your knees and feet hip width apart. Grounding through the four corners of your feet. And we're just going to ever so slightly hug the block. And don't feel like you have to be superstar with this strength or anything. This is just kind of sensing into the midline, into the pelvic floor, into the low abdomen, into the feeling of your pelvis kind of organizing itself around stability. Okay, so a little bit of a squeeze on the exhale and a little bit of a release on the inhale. And notice if you feel symmetrical in the two halves of your pelvis or if you don't, if you feel asymmetrical, if you know something feels a little different in your sacroiliac joints or in your low back or in your pelvis or even in your hip joints. I'm just sensing as you do this, subtle, subtle. All right, and then keeping that block, we're going to come into a bridge pose with the block. So we'll lift and hold. So you can have the block, you can adjust it if you want to adjust it. And we're going to lift up, come on to the tops of your shoulders and have a more full held bridge pose. Okay, so grounding through your four corners of your feet. And just take a moment to feel all the movements of this. So first push your feet away from you and feel your quads turn on and try to find symmetry. And then pull your heels toward your buttocks and see if you can feel symmetry in your hamstrings and your glutes, the way they're engaging. And then relax that and hug your feet toward each other and see if you can feel some symmetry of how the pressure on the block feels with those inner thighs. And then relax that and pull your feet apart and see if you can feel symmetry in the efforting of your outer hips. And then lower your pelvis back down. And it's quite common to not feel symmetrical. So don't worry if you're like, ooh, I'm much more, more engaged or active on one side than the other. This is normal. We just want to get to know what's happening. All right, let's windshield wiper our knees left and right. Just find ease through your low back, your hips, your pelvis, your pelvic floor, your legs. Nice and gentle. All right, and then we'll stretch out to a star one more time. Roll your wrists and your fingers. And then draw your knees in toward your chest and come onto your side. Roll onto all fours. Remember, the more mobility we have, the more stability we have, the more awareness we have in our body, the more choice is available to us. This is part of adaptability, increasing our opportunity for choice. Okay, let's start moving through some cat-cows, arching and rounding the spine. And now pay attention to the movement of your whole spine. What's available here? You can move slowly through this. You can move quickly through this. What's the breath and the pacing that feels good to you right now? Is there any place in your spine that you want to pause and kind of have a moment to explore? Whatever you're doing, make sure you're breathing through it. And then take a little time to wag your tail or move your hips, do some circles, anything that's going to feel good. What part of your spine needs some extra tender, loving care? And then stretch back toward a child's pose and open up through your body, reaching your fingers forward, letting your shoulders stretch open. We'll walk the hands over to one side and feel the side body lengthen. See if you can get this to move all the way to your pelvis. Hand to pelvis, opening up on that one side of your body. All right, and then we'll walk over to the other side, feeling a sense of ground. Open up through your ribs, feel the stretch in your side from your hand to your hip, and enjoy. All right, coming back to center, move around, wag your tail, maybe let your feet move a little bit. And we'll find a twist, reaching one arm up, roll your wrist a little bit. Deep breath, exhale, drop that shoulder down. Twisting to the side, enjoying the twist, breathing into it. Right. And then when you're ready, lift that arm back up in the air. Hand comes down onto the ground and we'll switch sides. Arm up, roll your wrist, full breath. Exhale, drop that shoulder down and enjoy the twist on this side. Full breath in, full breath away. And then inhale, Bring that arm all the way back up. Hand comes down onto the ground, and let's lift to a dog pose. Take a little time here. Get your legs to find their way. Maybe a little bit of pedaling. You can drop one heel down and then drop the other heel down, bending the opposite knee. How's your breath? Tend to it again. Just keep finding your breath over and over. And even though we've done this pose a million times, what's new in this moment? Ground yourself. See if you can let your breath help you feel the fullness of the pose. And then walk your feet forward. Come to Uttanasana, forward fold. Relax your head. Maybe give it a little bob if you want. Feel free to bounce or sway, anything that feels good. A halfway lift, opening up through your spine, feeling that length in your body. Let's take a little time, maybe pedal your feet here. Maybe move your hips, dropping one hip way back as you bend your other knee. Start to get into those outer hips a little bit. And then relax and melt to fold one more time. Relax your head. Let it move. Okay. Inhale, rise up, bring your arms to the sky. Finding that sense of space, opening up. Reach up, maybe reach back a little bit of a back bend living in your body. Let's cactus, open your chest, spread your wings, feel your shoulder blades, hug on to the back. Exhale and round and chin to chest. Again, arms up. Big breath in, wide stance. Exhale, arms together. Let's do that one more time. Arms up. Open your chest, spread your wings, cactus your arms, squeeze the back body, feel the symmetry back there, and then exhale and bring your hands to your heart. And pause here for a moment. Feel your way into the full inhale and the full exhale. All right, inhale, bring the arms up in the air, and we'll fold forward. Open up your back, let your spine lengthen. Grab onto the base of your skull with your hands and let some gravity help you, opening up those paraspinal muscles. Maybe you draw your chin toward your chest with your hands. And then relax your arms. Inhale, a halfway lift, opening up, sit bones high. Let's take a little time here. Pedal your feet again, drawing one hip way back as you bend the opposite knee. So kind of getting into those outer hips a little bit here as we open the hamstrings too. All right, and then ground into some symmetry. Feel the full length of your sit bones high, your heart forward, the feet are grounded. On your next exhale, melt to fold. Step back to a dog pose and enjoy the symmetry of this posture. Take a little time, pull your feet apart from each other and wake up those outer hip muscles. And then release that. Come forward into a plank. Shoulders over your wrists. And feel the integrity of finding your way toward the midline. Hands hugging toward the center, shoulder blades down, cores engaged, wrapping 360 around you. Your legs are active. How's your breath? And then we find our way to the ground. Roll the shoulders, loosen things up. Take a deep breath, open to a cobra. Exhale, coming back down. Again, rising up. Feel the length of the front of your body. Exhale, down again. One more time. Shoulder blades back down. Elbows bent. Stretch the legs. Melt to come back. Okay, pause here. And then push up onto all fours and move your spine. You can always take fists onto the ground if your hands are a little uncomfortable. Take your left leg straight back behind you. Pulse your leg a couple times so you feel your glutes turn on. And then let's stretch that right arm out in front of us as well. Integrate the ribs into the body. Find your breath, and we'll start to move here. A deep inhale to stretch long. Exhale to bring the elbow and knee underneath you. Inhale out. Exhale under. Inhale out. Exhale under. One more time. Stabilizing the leg on the ground, feeling that stability of your pelvis, your core. And then we'll place that hand down. Come back onto your knees. Give your hands a little bit of a shake. And then we'll switch to the other side. Okay, so this time we'll take our right leg out, pulse it a couple of times so that you feel that engagement, and then lift your left arm out in front of you. Thumb up, toes down. Feel the integration in the core of your body. Press your shin into the ground. Keep your head looking down. Okay. A deep breath in, stretch, and as you exhale, underneath you. Inhale long. Exhale underneath. All right, put that hand and knee down onto the ground, back onto your heels again. Give your hands a little bit of a shake. And come up onto your shins, arms up to the sky. Exhale, hands down onto the ground, dog pose. Full breaths here. Ground yourself. Maybe you want to move, maybe you want to be still. And let's isometrically pull the feet apart one more time. And then walk your feet forward. Come to Uttanasana. A halfway lift, opening up through your body. Exhale, melting back down. Push through your feet, rising up. Trace down through the center. Enjoy how your body's warming up, how you're maybe feeling a little more present with your body and breath. And keeping your feet hip width apart, squat down like a chair. Keep your hands to your heart. And we'll go ahead and take our hands to our outer knees. Maybe squat a little bit lower than your normal chair pose. Hands on the outside edges of your knees, and push your knees into your hands and your hands into your knees. Grab onto the mat with your big toe side of your foot and then pull your feet apart. Find your breath, feel that symmetry across the back of your pelvis. Inhale, release that, arms up. Exhale, trace down toward the midline. Pause. Breathe. And we'll grab a block. Stick it between your thighs. Find a full chair pose with your block between your legs, so you can keep your hands down on your hips if you'd like, or hands to your heart or hands up, your choice. But try to emphasize how the pelvis feels across your whole pelvis so that you feel that sense of symmetry. Breathing deeply. Inhale and come all the way up to stand. Release the block. Forward fold. A halfway lift, opening through the body. Exhale, step your left foot back, come to a lunge. Hands on blocks if you'd like. Finding your lunge. Let's start to move, bending and straightening the front knee. Feeling our way into mobility and breath. Remember, the more mobile we are, the more adaptable we can become, the more choice and agency we have. All right, ground yourself. Feel the roots of your legs, root down into the earth, and then rise up, crescent lunge. Arms coming up to the sky, feel that extension and the upward movement. Lift your heart. A big breath. From here, hop up onto one leg, half splits. Squaring up the pelvis. Let's come up onto the toes. Lift that right hip high in the air. Descend your right heel without losing the lift of your hip. So lift, lift, lift through that hip. The left leg in the air is strong. A deep breath in. Exhale, Jiva squat. Use your core. Inhale, pressing your legs straight. Exhale, dropping in, knee behind knee. One more time. Pause in that squat. Maybe try a little balance. You could take your hands away from the blocks or one hand away from the block. Finding that stability on one leg. Core is engaged, pelvic floor too. And then put your hands back onto the blocks, half splits. And place that foot down next to the other and just feel symmetry come again in between your the efforting of your two legs. How's your breath? A halfway lift, opening up. Sit bones high and wide. Open your feet. Exhale. Release down. Step your right foot back. Come to a lunge this side. Let's start to bend and straighten the front knee. Relax into your breath. Feel your way into the joy of just stretching and moving. 2 feet grounded. We feel the earth. We've got a strong connection with the earth. Nice and stable. When you're ready, ground through your legs. Push through the ground. Rise up, crescent lunge. Okay. Opening up through the body, reach the heart, maybe look up if that's comfortable for you. Feel that sense of ground and rise, root to rise. So we have both that stability and the freedom. The more we feel this sense of stability and freedom, the more adaptable we become, the more courageous we become, the more available we become. All right, let's release the hands down. Climb up onto this left foot. Right leg is in the air behind you. Square your hips. When you feel ready, climb up onto your toes. Lift the hip high. Find your breath as you descend the heel. Try to resist the hip coming with it. Keep the left hip lifting high as you descend the left heel down. Be active of that leg in the air. A deep breath in. And as you exhale, drop into a Jiva squat. Pushing your legs straight. Exhale again. Dropping into the squat. Straightening those legs on the in-breath. The next time we come down, we'll stay. Use your core, not just your outer hips. Lots of core in this too. Maybe one hand comes off the block. Maybe two hands come off the block. Find your breath. No matter what you're doing, we're breathing. All right, and then hands back down, straighten out to a half splits again. Place that foot down onto the ground and pause and just let your legs kind of find their way into symmetry and balance again. Melt your head. A halfway lift, opening up through your spine. Exhale. Release. Push through your feet, rising up. And then we'll trace down through the midline of your body. Pause here for a moment and enjoy the strength and stability of your body. Enjoy the feeling of your breath moving well through you. Okay. You can do this with different hands positions if you want. You can keep your hands on your hips, your hands together, your hands down, whatever feels comfortable. And turn sideways on your mat so you have some good length on either side of you. And we're just going to do some curtsy lunges a little bit. So standing on our right leg, we're going to take our left leg behind us and curtsy. Imagine that you are at the, bowing to the king. No kings, no kings, no kings in our country. Okay, so let's go ahead and switch sides. We're going to go back and forth. And this may feel, odd, like when's the last time you did this? Okay, but just get into the sense of using those outer hip muscles, your inner groin muscles to support your squatting. Okay, we're used to squatting with our feet on the ground or even one leg. But to kind of bring that foot behind you is a little different. Try to move not super fast so you can sense into what's giving you the strength and stability for this posture. How's your breathing? Your outer hip muscles have to do a lot of work for this. Try to move somewhat slowly where you're not just yanking yourself back up, but you're kind of moving slowly down and then slowly back up. Notice how far that foot goes off to the side behind you. Is it just a couple of inches or is it a couple of feet? How's the breath? And then pause. Bring your hands down next to you. And have a moment to just enjoy symmetry again. Full breaths in. Full breaths out. Face back to the front of your mat again. And inhale, lifting your arms up. Exhale, floating forward. Notice the symmetry and how it feels in your mind. A halfway lift. Exhale, back to dog pose. Feeling that full extension here. Come forward into a plank. When you're ready, find the ground. And notice how different it feels when you're doing things that are symmetrical versus asymmetrical. Rise up to a version of a back bend that feels good. Exhale, releasing toward the floor. Up onto all fours. Give your spine a little bit of a wiggle. And then we're going to bring our right foot forward to a lunge. Feel free to keep the back knee on the ground just for a moment. Enjoy a hip flexor stretch. Open up through the heart. And we'll take a twist with this knee down. Lifting up with your left arm. Bring either your forearm, hand, or elbow to the outer knee. And twist. Drop the shoulders. Breathing deeply, let your breath fill and empty. All right, come back to center. Lift your back knee up off the ground, hands on blocks, and shorten your stance so your lunge is, Parsvottanasana legs instead of a long lunge. And come up to stand. You can take your right foot a little further out to the right if you need a little more balance. So don't be on, a tight rope. Okay. Inhale, arms up to the sky. Open your heart. Press into your feet. Maybe a little bit of a leaning back, just see what's available. And then hands onto your hips as you come forward. Press into the earth. Lengthen your heart forward. You don't have to go super far to feel that you need to stay very stable to be here. So we're stretching, lengthening, and engaging the glutes and hamstrings on that front leg simultaneously. Recruit your core to help you, so it's not just the legs are doing the work here. Pelvic floor and core. And then inhale and come on up, arms back up. And this time we'll go a little deeper and bring our hands all the way down onto the blocks. Extend the heart forward, squaring the hips, breathing. And opening up the sit bones, wide sit bones, square hips. And then we'll come bringing your back foot forward, a halfway lift, notice the symmetry. And then we'll step our right foot back. Parsvottanasana on legs on this side. Okay, I know we haven't done the twist, we will. Hands onto your hips, lifting up through the heart, lengthen like you're zipping up a zipper from your pubic bone all the way to your sternum. And then tip a little bit forward. Feel the stability in your legs to hold you here. Square hips, ground through your feet. Pelvic floor and core helping that leg, so you're not just relying on the glutes and hamstrings of that front leg to support this pose. And come all the way back up. Maybe your arms want to come up. And this time we'll take our hands onto the blocks and go a little deeper so the torso is a little bit lower. Square hips. So even though we're not relying just on our legs and our hands are on the blocks, we're not bearing all of our weight. Give more to the legs than to the hands. Inner spiral your thighs, wide sit bones. Keep reaching the left hip back. All right, and then from here, drop your back knee down onto the ground. Adjust, maybe bring that left foot forward a little bit more so you're coming a little more deeply into your lunge. Lifting the heart space. Big breaths. All right, and then we'll find a twist here, reaching the right arm up. Bring it to your elbow hand or forearm to your thigh and twisting to the left. Try not to collapse and fall. We're still stabilizing with our legs. How's the breath doing? All right, great. And then come back to center. Okay. And we'll lift into a dog pose. Hands on the ground. Bring that foot back. Feel your feet come a little wider than hip width. And breathe into the pelvis. Try to walk your feet forward. Uttanasana. Push through your feet, rising up. Trace down through the midline. Pause in that sense of symmetry one more time. Take your feet, again, in Parsvottanasana legs, right foot is in front. We're going to come into a revolved triangle pose now. So depending on you, maybe you need 2 blocks on the inside of your right leg, maybe you need 1. Okay, so you can stack like this, or you can just have 1, your choice of how you go. Right hand on your hip, reach the left arm up, extend through the open heart, and then lengthen forward. Remember, we're working the glutes and hamstrings, but our core and our pelvic floor is there too. Bring the hand to rest onto the block, more weight bearing into your legs than your hand. Square the hips, inner thighs roll back. Wide sit bones, ever so slight lift of the tail. Root into both feet. Lengthen your spine. and then begin to revolve open. How are your ribs feeling? Drop your shoulder blades down and let the ribs rotate open. Stay grounded in your legs. Try not to lose the big toe mound. Press it into the earth. Let that help you inner spiral that front leg. How's your breathing? How's your sense of stability? And relax. Come back to center. Walk the back foot forward. Put a block between your thighs. Come into a chair pose, maybe hands on your thighs, grounding your legs. You don't have to lift your arms up. You can if you'd like. And then come on up to stand, and we'll take the other side. Left foot forward, right foot is back. 1 or 2 blocks on the inside edge of that foot. And if you know your balance gets a little screwy in this pose, try taking your left foot out to the left a little bit more. Get a little wider, broader stance, and this will keep you a little more stable. Take a deep breath in, reach that right arm up in the air and feel that extension in your body. Lengthen forward, core, pelvic floor, glutes, hamstrings, everything's working together. Bring the hand onto 1 or 2 blocks, whatever is suitable for you. Find your stability. Ground through your legs. Root into that left big toe. Feel the inner spirals. Inner thighs rolling back. Keep that left hip hugging in toward the midline and back toward the wall behind you. Stretch your heart long. When you feel ready, you can start to roll open into the twist. Keep the strength and groundedness of your legs that you've been creating. Keep the ribs opening in the breath. Rotate. Let the exhales guide you deeper. Maybe you look up, maybe you look down. Whatever you're doing, do you feel stable? And come back around. Turn to the side of your mat. Wide legs. Take your knees and bend them, elbows inside your knees for a deep squat. Open up your lumbar spine. Full breaths. Feel the symmetry in your pelvis and in your legs. Ground through your feet. And then hands on blocks or ground. Turn your feet forward. Straighten your legs. Tasvrita. Wide legs. Relax into the inversion. Melt your head. It can be supported on something if you'd like to, or you can dangle. Decompress the spine. All right, turn back to the front of your mat for a dog pose. And we'll come forward for our last of the planks. Holding yourself steady. Push the ground away. And find the ground. Hands underneath your forehead. Legs wide. Lift your legs. Feel that symmetry. Hug on to the sacrum. Exhale and release. This time we'll do it with our feet turned out. So get onto the inside edge of your knees. Toes turned out. Inhale, lift. Notice if it's similar or different to do it in this way. Do you have symmetry in your back body? And then relax. Okay. Come on up. Give your spine a little bit of a wiggle. And then we'll come, when you're ready, take your time, we'll come on to our back. And this time our bridge pose, instead of doing it actively like we did in the beginning, we're going to do it passively on a block. So any height of the block that you want. If you want 2 blocks underneath you, that's fine too. So whatever feels comfortable, just make sure the block is across your sacrum, not narrow. And we want to just rest here. So any height that feels comfortable. This is less about a deep opening and more about reconnecting and stabilizing symmetry in your pelvis. So bigger, better, bigger is not better. Higher is not better. Just find what's comfortable. Open your chest, settle your pelvis onto the block, and breathe. And follow your instincts. Maybe you want to straighten your legs and have your heels on the ground. Maybe you want to keep your feet on the ground. Maybe you want to put your legs up in the air. So follow your instincts of what feels good for your body. And give yourself into the breath. All right, if you haven't done it yet, let's all go ahead and bring our knees toward our chest and just a little bit of traction on here. Maybe you want to lift your legs for a moment. Maybe you want to keep your knees in. Maybe you even want to bring your feet into a happy baby pose. So just feel into some openness for the lumbar spine here, whatever position gives you that. All right, and then when you're ready, put your feet down, get the block out of there. Maybe a little bit of gentle windshield wipering, maybe a thigh over thigh and draw your knees to your chest. Maybe a reverse pigeon, kind of follow your body's instincts. And we're just releasing our hips a little bit here. Thigh over thigh or a reverse pigeon can help you open up some of those glute muscles that you were strengthening so well earlier. Whenever you're doing, the head is resting, the feeling of Shavasana is starting to come over you. Changing sides when you're ready, if you're doing something that's two-sided. And then whenever you feel ready for Shavasana, you get yourself comfortable. So find the position that's most easeful in your body. If you need any support, take the support. Let your body find its way into rest. Melt through your shoulders, melt through your skull. Relaxing through your arms, relaxing through your legs. Find your breath again. Let's begin to deepen our breathing and stretch your body well. Move in any way that is soothing and supportive. And when you're ready, come to a comfortable seat. As you find your way up, notice your breath. Notice how you've changed in your practice, how your body might have gotten a little more free, your mind a little more steady. These are the tools that give us the capacity to be more adaptable. Bring our hands together at our heart and let's offer our energy to another. Maybe someone you know in your life who is quite rigid, who has a hard time with change, who doesn't easily adapt to change. Maybe you can shower them with some compassion and some support. Namaste. Thank you, everyone. I think that, hold on.